Hello everyone, welcome to Shelf Space. I'm your host, Ross13, and today we are reviewing the HG Mobile Doll Sarah from Gundam Build Divers. I've been pretty excited to check this kit out with you guys, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed, but first, let's take a quick look at the box. So, we got a nice illustration of Sarah in her sort of Gunpla mobile suit mode, and then we got a picture of her in her more human-like form, which isn't 100% accurate to what she's going to look like when she does have her human form, but that's okay. It's a very pretty picture. It's very lovely illustrated. Got little rose petals or flower petals all over the place. The HG logo, the Build Divers logo. Mobile Doll Sarah. HG Mobile Doll Sarah. And technically, I guess this doesn't have a scale because I think technically this is a 1-to-1 scale kit. Got the blue Bandai Spirits logo. On the side, we got some nice painted illustrations of the kit showing off. She's got different eye stickers if you wanted, different hands. Look at what she looks like there. A picture of her being adorable inside somebody's purse. And then there's another picture of her, and then a picture of her in her mobile suit Gunpla mode. Then call-outs for all these other characters and things that you can buy. Bug your parents on stores now. On the side, we got a picture from the front and all the same information. And BandaiHobby.net. And then we got another painted shot and a bunch of little bitty text. You can read that if you want. Pause. You done? You sure? Okay, we're moving on. And more stuff. And once again, no listed price on there. Though this time they've taken the action to actually center it. So that's nice. And then on this side we got the Bluefin sticker, and it's the same info otherwise. And yeah. So, let's take a look at the actual kit. And here she is. And I gotta say, she looks very, very nice. I've always kind of liked this sort of mecha girl aesthetic, though some lines maybe take it in a direction that I'm not completely comfortable with. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. But this is really, really cool. And as I said in the unboxing, she reminds me a lot of the, I think they're called the Cass from Phantasy Star Online, which was one of my favorite species, classes, whatever, to play in that game. So let's get a little bit closer to the head and we'll start our review. So here's a nice close look at her head sculpt. And I really like it. I like that they kind of went with the no mouth look. Yeah, maybe it's a little on the unsettling side for some, but I think it's a good look and it sort of differentiates it from her normal human face. You do have to use stickers or paint to get some of these little details on here. But that's not too bad, and if I really wanted to, I can paint those spots, I think. I'm feeling a little bit more confident in my painting ability. Oh, you guys can probably also tell that I've gone ahead and panel lined this kit as well. The eyes are also stickers, and when you look at them this close, it does look a little on the poor side because they are sort of a curved surface, and stickers don't always like to adhere to those nicely. But when looked at a more normal viewing distance, it's not that bad. And I also really like this little fin that sticks up there. I think that's a neat little detail, and it adds a lot of visual interest to the head sculpt. The head is on a ball socket joint that lets it move around. You can't look up very much because you got her hair in the back kind of bumping into things. Though, let's see, if I did this, yeah, even with the hair out of the way, looking up is not in the cards for her, unfortunately. It's just the way she's designed. But you can have her tilt her head to the side and look adorable. I'm an adorable little robot girl. All right, let's get to the rest of articulation. So, let's see. Her shoulders are ball sockets with a little bit of jointing right in there to allow for a little bit of a butterfly joint. And it's just enough that she can really get her arm across her torso. And that's actually pretty nice. Her elbow is, in fact, double jointed, if I remember correctly. Though you don't get a whole lot of bend out of them. You do have some bicep swivel there. The arms are very thin, so I'm being a little careful with them. She's not fragile per se, but I just, don't want to break my model kit. And her hands are on a ball socket joint, which allows for switching out of other hands, which we'll get over on that in a little while. Her torso has some ab crunch. This part can move to allow for the movement. And I think it's like a ball socket joint. So yeah, you can do a little bit of movement here, just enough to add a little bit more posability to it. Her hair, as we showed earlier, is on a ball joint, so you can move that around as you want. And these are also on a hinge joint, like I showed earlier as well. She's actually got these neat little flaps on parts of her skirt armor. And I think, I don't know if there's a P. Bandai thing or something, but like in the show they had like almost moonlight butterfly wings coming off of it. And I think it's just a neat little detail. I like that there's just extra hidden detail in there. And you have to admit, that looks really cool. They've managed to make the plastic look like it's flowing, and nothing but appreciation for that. Her side skirts also can move, and I want to say these could as well, but I'm not seeing that. And this has a little bit of movement as well to make room for leg articulation, which we're going to look at right now. So because of the skirt armor, she can't kick her legs all the way up. That's unladylike anyway. She does got a double jointed knee that allows for a very nice bend. She's got a boot cut joint here, if I remember correctly. Just very tight. Or was that just... Nope, never mind. I'm just crazy. She just got a joint up higher in the leg for rotation. And the ankle is on a sort of... I can't remember if it's a ball joint or a series of joints, but I just took her off the stand. But you get some pretty nice movement out of there. And again, her skirt is restricting her movement, so she's not going to be able to do a splits, at least with everything all equipped. The stand connects to a port on the underside of her skirt. That's why I popped it off like that, and it wasn't just a mistake. You can't prove anything. And she has arms for hugging. So, fairly posable, but this skirt armor is going to cause problems for things, so keep that in mind. But she's not really designed to be, hyper action hero. Though maybe that's to her detriment. Try to get things back in position. Whoop. She almost fell over. She is kind of top heavy because of all the weight from the skirt, and I think that's part of why they included the stand, so that way you didn't have to try to balance her on her feet. You can get her to stand. I'm just not going to try in this review because I don't want to have 100 takes of this thing just falling over on its side. Accessory-wise, she comes with, let's see, some fists, or, holding hands for both right and left. We'll show those off in a little bit. And she also has the parts to make her human form, which we will show in a little bit, probably at the end of the review. She did have some extra parts that weren't used. So, really confusingly, because nothing on her instruction sheet said that there were parts that weren't going to be used, but she has these parts right here, which, near as I can figure, they're supposed to be like hip joints or something like that, but they're not used anywhere on the kit. And I have no idea why she has them. It's possible there's something that are being used for a future version of her. I don't know. It's kind of weird. She only used one poly cap, which I think was in the head, maybe? I can't remember for certain. Or maybe it was in the torso. So you have several of these left over. And she has another set of the, these are the sort of inner shoulder joints. On the stickers, you have a whole bunch of eye options, including doubles of each one. I went with the looking forward ones because I felt the looking right, looking left was way too specific, and I didn't care for that because it made it seem like you would only be able to pose her in certain ways, you know? So if you wanted to, you could equip her with these holding fists. And they can take just standard HG weaponry. This is something from a set that Shoki Reviews let me have, so shout out to him. Oh, and shout out to my friend Jason for giving me this kit. So you can actually equip her with weapons, and that kind of amuses me. This is a beam saber I had handy, also from Shoki of Shoki Reviews. So if you wanted to, you can send her into action. I know I said she's not a super action bot, but she doesn't look half bad equipped with weapons, though. I've seen some people give her some really cool looking loadouts, and I'm probably going to have to do that myself because it amuses me too much. But yeah, check that out. That's really cool looking. Because she is an HD kit, so anything that's 1/144 scale will look just fine on her, and you could probably get some of smaller 1/100 scale stuff if you know how to mod it for her to hold on to. Seeing her with some giant swords would probably be very, very amusing to me. Yes, I dig that. You know what? I may even take a picture of that. There we go. Maybe that'll be the thumbnail. Alright, so let's go ahead and start working on getting her changed into her more human-like form. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get the weapons out of her hands. And yeah, we'll go ahead and do that because that makes things a little bit easier. That is a problem. I think I pointed that out earlier in the video. So first we're going to do is pop off her head. In fact, we'll go ahead and just do the head in general first. So zoom in. And what we're going to do is, what are we going to do? I want to make sure I'm doing this correctly. So we take off this part first. So that goes off. And then we push these little hair armor thingies off. And then we rip her face off. It sounds brutal, but that's what you got to do. Now, we go pop that back on. So now she's got her normal face. put this on. And then we have normal hair that goes right like that. Though I suppose if you really wanted to, you could probably... Yeah, if you wanted to, you could give her her helmet. That actually doesn't look half bad. But for right now, we're going with this. Make sure... Double checking the pictures and instructions to make sure I got everything. Yep. Does she look cute? Her eyes are stickers, as we saw earlier. So that's just something to be aware of. But the part that they go on is set up so that if you really, really wanted to, you could paint the eyes. I don't have that level of confidence just yet. Oh, and we'll go ahead and fold those down as well. Okay. So next up, the main part of transformation that's left is the torso. So we're going to pop her arms off. We'll go ahead and just take care of these real quick. So you just remove the shoulders and pop on the appropriate ones. Provided I can figure this out. There we go. I actually have the entire sort of mechanism in there, because these are sort of the inner parts of her shoulders, which is what we're going to remove in this step. So now we sort of take off this little bow. And this part comes off somehow. There we go. And you see, this is something I don't completely care for on this kit, because you're really having to just sort of rip everything apart, and it would have been nice if, you know, you didn't have to do that. There we go. So then we just sort of rotate and pull and just dislodge everything. And then we're going to just sort of pop these in. Just sort of pop these in. Oh, I think I see part of my problem. Yeah, I got the wrong shoulders attached there. Oops. No biggie. Ah. As you can see, this is a very tedious process, and not one that you'd probably would want to do very often. So probably after this, I may change it back to the Gunpla mobile suit mode, and then leave it like that. I might change the face from time to time. That's not too difficult to do. This arm just came apart on me. There we go. There we go. Now we're almost back to normal. So we put that little piece of armor, shirt, whatever that is, back. Her little tie-like thing. The bow. And finally, I'll form the head. And there she is. Let's go ahead and get her back up on the stand with all the skirt armor. Just put these aside. And there she is, looking adorable. And there she is, looking adorable with a beam saber. This amuses me. You know what? Maybe we should find some other weapons that can go in her hands. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, just gathered some weapons. Let's see how they look in her hands. This is going to be fun. So I got a sword off of a kit that you will see sometime in the near future. Shoki's probably screaming at the screen that he knows what it is. Let's see. Oh, that looks cool. A little weird to see, you know, beam saber and regular sword together. She's like, come at me, bro. Can you tell that I'm easily amused by stuff like this? Then the sword that I'm using for the slash beat Leo, which is from the 21st century arms or 23rd century arms or whatever collection. I think it's called a Gian Buster sword, but I'm calling it something else. Come on. There we go. You can't even see it on screen. Oh, that's awesome. And remarkably, her arm is holding it up quite nicely. I can't guarantee how long it would hold that for. Next up is an axe. A heat hawk of some sort. Again, from a kit that you'll see. Tee-hee. Okay. Got this off of Shoki from Shoki Reviews, actually. It's a neat little scissors weapon from just one of the weapon sets from Build Fighters. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could do some Kill la Kill stuff with this. Let's see. Next up, we got the Buster rifle from the Wing Zero. I'm sorry, not the Wing Zero. That's just from straight up the Gundam Wing. And you see what I kind of like about this is, yeah, I'm laughing and having and thinking this is kind of goofy, but she doesn't look wrong necessarily holding these things. I guess it's just by virtue of all being designed by Bandai. Here's a Leo machine gun. Let's see if I can get this one in. That looks pretty cool too. And these next ones, we're going to have to go ahead and do the disassembly thing on her hand. And that's just by virtue of the fact that these are designed like that. And I haven't actually tested to see if any of these work ahead of time. So we're all discovering this together. This one has a tab, which may interfere with things a little bit. Yeah, so the Zaku 1 machine gun doesn't quite work. And next up, the sword from her good buddy, the what was he calling it? The 00 Sky. That's pretty cool. You know what, speaking of 00 Sky, let's go ahead and get the other Build Divers kits I have out for comparison. Come on, look ahead, man. Yeah, that wrist joint. They kind of look puny next to her almost. Maybe it's just because of the stand. Huh. Anyway, that's been a review. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff. Let YouTube know I'm awesome and maybe bring in more people to check out my awesome videos. As of this recording, the Balls for Balls contest is still going on. So you should enter that if you want to. I'd love to see more people enter that. I'd love to see what everybody's doing for that contest. It's awesome and it's for a great cause. If you check the description below, we have lots of information about that. Also in the description below is a link to my storefront where you can get official Shelf Space shirts and other merchandise. And yeah, thanks again, and I'll see you the next time you invade my shelf space.